Hey everybody. So I wanted to give an update. I'm working on the sink. The propane system, I had to rethink the way I was doing it, so I'm getting some more parts and waiting on that. So in the process of waiting for that, I decided to work on the sink and get the water running. So I'm doing this in two parts. Before I put the actual sink in, I wanted to talk a little bit about the system that I put in, just mainly because it's easier to see without the sink in it. So basically we have the faucet running, and essentially the way the system works is there's a water pump. Actually, let me move the camera so that you can see that better. Okay, so hopefully that's better. So the way that this works is essentially there's a water pump, and I have two containers. The left-hand side is our clear or fresh water, and then the right-hand side will be basically our gray water, basically the water that drains out of the sink. So the way that I set this up is that there's hoses, and I'll secure these containers in eventually, but they basically have quick connects or disconnects so that I can remove and fill the fresh water or empty the gray water. Same thing on this side. I can remove this. The gray water will actually get connected to the bottom of the sink and the strainer that goes in, which is the next thing I'm actually going to be doing. But the way that the electricity works is I basically have a button that when the power is on, you don't want the pump running all the time for a couple of reasons. One is it's a little bit noisy, and two, you don't ever want to basically run it dry because that could be bad for the pump. The pump could overheat. So in essence, there's this button, and right now I'm going to put a piece of trim that will go across this whole thing, and this button will actually be like right here. So when you actually want to use the sink, you'll hit this button, and then you'll get the water on. I'll turn it on right now, but it might be a little loud. Okay, it's not loud because right now there's actually pressure in the system from the water tank has filled the pipes that go up and into this, and then up into the sink. So I'm not going to run it right now because there's nothing to catch it. I'll show that when I'm all done. But essentially the water will run through and then it will drain down into that gray water tank. So my next step now is to actually get the sink and the strainer installed and get the gray water connected. And when I get that all done, I'll actually show it all running. So that's the next step, and that will be the next part. All right, so the sink is installed and in position, and I got the drain working, and the pump is on right now, or the power to the pump is on right now. I got the button pushed, so it's got the blue light. So when I turn it on, you'll hear the pump here. I got water running, which is pretty exciting. There's a little air in the lines that once you get enough water going through it, it actually goes pretty solid. But just for the video anyways, I got water running. It's running from our fresh water and it's draining into our gray water, which I'm pretty excited about. So this whole system worked out pretty well. Honestly, most of the time for this build was standing in the hardware store trying to find all the connections to get all the parts below. Actually installing the water and doing all that part was actually pretty straightforward once I had all the parts. It was really just a matter of getting all the parts put together. So there it is. There's the build, and it's all done, and the water is working.